I want a whip-eye.
I was like, what?
Ted Jenkin, Oxygen Financial.
Love it.
So the state of Georgia is proposing this new bill that would allow winners to keep their names quiet. I don't think anybody, and everybody's playing Powerball, I don't think anybody knew that by law, you have to be outed in the state of Georgia if you were to win tomorrow night.
Yeah, it does depend from state to state, but the state of Georgia makes you out your name. And so if you wanted to take the winnings and put them into a trust to have anonymity, the state of Georgia now wants to take 25% of your $1.4 billion.
On top of the taxes that are taken out.
I know.
So that's half.
No.
More than half.
How can they do that?
There it is. It's the law, you know. Set it up that
come
way.
on. See, this is what the problem is. That's why I said keep the toll on Georgia 400 so they wouldn't do this kind of stuff.
This is being proposed by Senator Josh McCoon to try again to pass a bill that allow winners to keep their names quiet. I guess they've tried to do this before.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You don't want your name out there.
I mean, like, really? I mean, who was sitting around and thought this was a good idea? I mean, that's stealing.
Hey, we're going to out you and take 25%.
Because, and you've dealt with, I'm guessing, I don't know if you have or not, but I'd guess you probably dealt with people that have come into a large chunk of money, whether it's lottery or inheritance or something like that. And one of the big red flags, you don't get your name out there because then people come and they just suck the money from you. And I don't know if you've seen it or not. And if you have, tell us where people have lost it all because they've just opened up their hearts to try to help everybody.
Well, every single person that you know or didn't know will come out of the woodwork asking for a check. So family members notwithstanding, you're going to have friends that say, I want to open up a business, or I've got a great idea where you could put $100,000 or $500,000.
Yeah.
Before you know it, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. There are people who have won $30, $40, $50 million, and they're broke a couple of years later. And by the way, every charity now thinks you're more charitable. So believe me, they'll all be calling you up to say, what's an extra 10, 20 grand?
If you have any questions for Ted Jenkin, this would be the opportunity to ask Ted with Oxygen Financial, just in case you win the Powerball tomorrow. Financial questions, because it's not so much, I think, the money, the actual winning of the lottery that ruins people. It's the people that ruin the person that wins the lottery.
That's kind of the way I see it. I think people, the people around you, that inner circle, even the outer circle, if you win big money, I think they are the ones that ruin it for you. I think the way you get treated, I think it makes you a different person.
Well, just consider people that are in the field of sports, or famous people like Evander Holyfield and people like that have gone bankrupt and literally had $100 million or $200 million.
MC Hammer.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, you take MC.
His entourage.
No, his entourage. But, you know, Evander, I just got to spend some time with Evander just before Christmas, and I lived in Fayette County and went bowling, and we would all see him and his family in his huge home. So that's the closest guy I know, and you saw people taking advantage of him. You saw the multiple wives, and that money slipped, and you've got to scratch your head knowing you had $200 million, and when you've got nothing, I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Hey, Cody in Noonan, go ahead. What do you got?
Hey, yeah, I got a friend that won $12 million. I think it was about 8 years ago or so, maybe 8 or 9 years.
And
changed his life for sure.
Good for better or for worse?
Well, I would say for the better, because he seemed to have handled it pretty well. I mean, I know we were close friends in school and growing up, and then we all got families and stuff and kind of got distance from each other, but I still see him every once in a while around town.
Did he give you any of the money since you were close friends in school?
No, I never asked.
Do you think that he did? Did he start a business?
Well, he was a contractor. He had a business, and so when he won, he built some houses for his kids. I know he built each one of his kids a home, and some of these things I know is facts from talking to him, and then some of these things were just hearsay, but came from people that knew him pretty well. I think he was a stock car fan, so he spent some money on a race car and a nice trailer and a motor home to pull it with, but
now we're starting to suck money.
I don't think he wasted all this money.
There's the hole in the bucket.
Give me the biggest trailer.
Yeah, that's like a money pit for sure.
Yeah,
but
it is.
But I don't think he went overboard. I think he did it in a small way. You know, he didn't.
Yeah. Dirt track
it was
racing
his
or
hobby.
something?
You know, it's what he loved doing, and if I won that kind of money, I'd probably do, what I enjoy doing as well.
That's cool. That's
All right.
cool.
Thank you, Cody. 67 millionaires have been made just in this last run of the Powerball.
Meaning they won $1 million.
Yeah, obviously no one's won the big jackpot, but there have been millionaire winners, including one in Lawrenceville in this last run. A guy, Dennis, Angelo, 38, Lawrenceville, claimed his prize Monday afternoon. $1 million. People are going to come out of the woodworks, Ted, for $1 million?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Again, you said it before. For most Americans, $1 million, let's say net of tax, because you don't have a chance to take the annuity on the $1 million, you're going to walk away with, let's say, $700,000, somewhere in that ballpark.
Game changer.
For most people, it's going to be a reasonable game changer in their life if they manage it appropriately, and they'll be able to either retire comfortably or pay off their house, but it's going to be some level of game changer in their lives.
All right, we got questions for Ted Jenkin, Oxygen Financial, just in case you win the Powerball.
Because it could happen.
It could.
It could.
And also, you got to think, what if we win the Powerball and you've signed up on BaileyandSouthside.com? What are you going to do with that share of money? I don't know where we're at right now of how many people have signed up.
By the way, people that don't sign up, whatever's extra should be divided up between us, meaning all of us.
Okay.
No. I mean,
Okay, I don't think that's how we have talked about it on the air, where it's going to be cut up equally.
I thought everybody gets $1 million if we win. We're just going to cut up. So you might get a little more than $1 million if enough people don't sign up.
Personally, I like your idea better.
I do like my idea better. We're guaranteeing anybody that signs up, we'll give you $1 million.
Well, what if there are more people than...
then it's less.
Yeah. Why don't you do it?
What the hell? We'll divide it up evenly. My goodness.
All right. Jeff and Blake, not the quarterback from ECU back in the day. Two different people. Questions for Ted Jenkin here up next regarding if you win the Powerball, what do you do? It's Bailey and Southside Rock 100.5. $1.4 billion. Your share of that, if your ticket doesn't hit for Powerball tomorrow night, can be yours, because Steve and I are going to share with you. And all you have to do is sign up on BaileyandSouthside.com, and we'll share, because we're sharers.
I share everything. I'm probably one of the most generous people I know. I even give homeless people $2 instead of $1.
We're sharers. That's how we roll. Okay,
That's what I do.
A lot of people have questions for Ted Jenkin, Oxygen Financial, just in case you do win. I mean, the steps, and we've talked about this at the first run of this big jackpot, was you sign the back of the ticket, you put it in a safe place, you don't tell a damn soul, and then you go to a Ted Jenkin with Oxygen Financial and get financial advice, so you don't stupid out your money. Douglas and Conyers, question for Ted: when you win, and please, everybody that's on hold, start out by saying, when I win the Powerball tomorrow night, and then your question, please, if you don't mind.
Well, of course I'm going to win. That's why I'm calling.
Well, that's it. If you don't believe in you, I can't believe in you.
Hey, when I win the Powerball tomorrow, my question is, Mr. Ted, they're going to charge you your state taxes. Okay, you pay that, whatever. All right, on the rest of the money that you put up in savings, the bank account, whatever, or invest it however, do you still have to pay any more taxes after that?
All right.
Well, once you're done paying federal and state tax, although if you win $1.3 billion, there are many, many ways to pay lower tax than they're going to tell you. Once you have the money, it depends on where you invest it. There are many investments out there that you can either grow tax-free or you can grow them tax-deferred, which means that you don't pay tax on it until you take the money out down the road. The big thing people need to think about is if you walk out with net $800 or $900 million, if you don't set it up right, your family down the road could be subject to a massive inheritance tax. Massive. Once in the United States, you're above roughly, for a married couple, $11 million. I'm just ballparking it. You could lose eventually half of that of your family down the road. So you got to set it up right.
See, that's what sucks, because I know with you
Right.
work with people on
There you go. Thanks,
thank you, man. You work with people on investments, but what you're dealing here, really the money in knowing how to save is taxes.
Oh, yeah. I'm even better on taxes.
I mean, because that's really what it is. Because there is so many ways, that you can cut that, or you can just get nailed.
Well, you have to think about this. If you're running your family finances, the number one thing before investments is thinking about, how do I pay less to the federal government, period. And that doesn't matter whether you make $50,000 or you make $500,000. In this case, if you come into $1 billion, well, this is going to be an opportunity to figure out how to reduce your taxes.
There's Blake in Douglas County. Question, Ted Jenkin, Oxygen Financial. Go ahead.
when I win the Powerball tomorrow, is it all right if I pay off my mom, dad, or my house, my family's house, and their vehicles?
Oh, I love that. That's a great thought. I think that's a wonderful
How many
thing.
people
Wonderful
in your
thing to do.
family, though? You might want to ask that, Ted.
Well, I was just my house, my intermediate family, 4 of us.
If you're the Dugars, I wouldn't do it.
Because
That's 19 homes.
Because my mom's on disability, and they're threatening to cut her off, and so...
All right, so your question is, can you pay off your parents' house and car if you win?
It'd be nice. Got to be careful about the gift tax. You can only give so much to one person at one time.
Here, let me elaborate.
But it's a nice thought.
Let me elaborate on this. How much can you give? How much can you gift? I think
it's $14,000 per person per year.
Okay, so how would you gift more than $14,000 to a person? There are ways to do it.
Well, you know what? This is actually more complicated, probably on the air, but you have sort of a lifetime credit you can use for estate taxes, and you can start to gift away more of that money now if you want to, and use up some of that credit.
But there are ways.
Sure.
If let's say Blake here wins the Powerball, but you told me you are winning, correct? That's what you said to us.
Yes.
Okay, he is winning. So when he wins,
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. We were talking.
It's a
to the
game
winner.
changer for him to come tomorrow.
So when he wins tomorrow night, he could come to you, Ted, and he could set up a way that his family would be taken care of.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, all
Step 1, put Ted on speed dial. Step 2, yes, absolutely, Jason. There are always ways to do nice things like that and be able to not put yourself in a tax predicament.
See, I knew there was a limit, and that's tough because you want to do those kind of nice things. But handing somebody $14,000 a year is nice.
I love the limit because that means I don't have to give him any more.
That's your excuse.
By law, I'd say, you know what, Mom, haven't talked to you in 10 years. Not really a big fan of you, but just so I get kind of a pass to go through the pearly gates that day, here's $14,000. That's all the state is allowing me to give you. I know I have $1.4 billion, but you get $14,000.
And I'll give it to you a year for 5 years.
Jeff, and you can do it yearly, right?
Yeah, of course. And if you're married, you can do what's called gift splitting, and it could be $28,000 a year. So if you had a niece or a nephew, grandchildren, things like that.
All right, Jeff and Villa Rica, go ahead.
When I win the Powerball tomorrow, guys and Brandy, I was wondering, could you put it in a dummy corporation, and you're CEO of the company? Can you beat out putting your name out there?
Well, not in the state of Georgia. There are some states that would allow you to just take the money and put it into a trust, or yes, maybe a corporation, or other ways for you to be able to maintain anonymity. But that's sort of the thing that the state of Georgia is talking about now. They don't allow that. So they want, 25% of your take potentially.
So they want the name of the company. I mean, the name of the owner of the company.
Well, they just want the name of the owner, period, of the ticket.
Where does Georgia's moral code come in? Because I heard some nice stuff saying, we're a moral society here in Georgia where we don't want to allow legal gambling to come in, but we'll tax the hell out of if you win. What?
This is about, $350 million to them, so that's probably a pretty good business
decision. That's not nice.
That's why thank you, Jeff. That's why I continuously say there's nothing wrong with legalizing gambling. It has nothing to people get on this high horse of it's a moral issue because gambling is so sinful, yet you go to church every Sunday, or you go to the church on Thursdays and play bingo, which is one of the, outside of lottery, purest forms of gambling, because there is no skill involved in a game like that. But yet the state of Georgia, who, by the way, in session in casinos, legalizing casinos and whatnot, is really, it's topic A.
Yeah, of course it's topic A.
You just have to come to a agreement that the state is going to be beneficial to the casinos, and it has to shed a good light on the state as well, which I totally agree with. Like right now in Vegas, which is Sin City, those casinos are struggling out there, and there are a lot of dirtbag casinos out there, but that's what the desert was built on. New Jersey is a crap hole. It's how you do it. You go down to Florida and you go to any of these Seminole Hard Rocks, whether it's in Tampa or in Hollywood, it's nice. And the Seminole tribe pays $1 billion to the state of Florida to have different agreements. They're in the middle of a 5-year agreement right now. So if it's done properly like that, then you should legalize it.
It just kills me that the state is like, that's against our moral code. But as Ted's telling us today, federal government taxes you, but the state wants to tax 25% on whatever you win in the lottery.
Yeah, it's not just a tax; they just want to take it.
They just want to take it.
That's to stay anonymous. That's a bill being proposed.
To be
you still have your
anonymous.
state tax. And by the way, I've always felt that the lottery was a lot more predatory than casinos and things like that. To get to play poker versus scratch-off tickets, it's
Oh, no. Don't get me started.
Well, yeah, let's not go there.
Lottery is the purest form of gambling. It is all chance. It is the definition of gambling. That's what drives me nuts. Yeah. Is that everybody thinks that poker and slots and, Mississippi Stud or 3-card or 4-card or all these games, it's so sinful and it's so bad, yet people will go, you see them at the gas station.
Oh, the homeless are doing the 3. What do you call it? The fast, I don't even know what it's called.
And just throwing their money away. And it's personal responsibility. That's what it all boils down to. But don't point the finger at something else when something else is doing the exact same thing.
I know so many homeless people have not even over a 3rd grade education, but they know every rule when it comes to the Georgia lottery and can recite it. I don't know how to play these games, and they'll teach you right there on the spot.
Look, if you didn't get your questions answered today by Ted, you can always reach out to him either by phone or by his website. I'm sure he's got tons of this stuff up there.
Talk about his book, too.
All right, hold on. Go ahead. How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, if you want to leave your questions at any time, go to oxygenfinancial.net. We've set up a special place where you can just click a button, leave us a question. We'd be happy to answer it. Or if you've got a confession, something that you want to tell us, you can leave it on there as well.
Right, yeah. We changed that up today because of the Powerball, but next week we'll get back to your financial confessions.
This is big stuff. It's $1 billion.
Real life, real money, 100 smart money moves to make right now. That's Ted Jenkin's book that he just brought in with us, hot off the press. You can get that on your website as well, right?
Get it on the website, or you can just go to Amazon and check it out. It's a book to help you get your finances in order and just make smart money moves today.
I'm glad we did this today. It was very informative. Thank you. I mean, I really think people enjoyed that
stuff. Yeah.
All right, let's